Hello, welcome back today. Uh, Thank you guys so much for being here as I build out my channel. Today we are going to go over the topic of passive reconnaissance. As I've mentioned in the past, or I will mention in the future, passive reconnaissance is anything that does not touch the system. So dumpster diving, social engineering is active. Um, Basically, just as long as you don't have interaction with the target and your system, you're passively engaging in any kind of reconnaissance. Active reconnaissance is anything that actually touches the system, so you don't want to be doing any of that. So we're going to be going through the first room, and I'm just kind of trying to breeze through this because this is not a very big subject. I'm just going to jump right in, and we're going to go through some of the ideas pertaining to the subject at hand. So, what we're going to be working in this room, we're going to be working with three tools. We're going to be working with Whois, nslookup, and dig. There's a lot to go over, but we started up the machine and we are ready to rock and roll. We're going to go over some of the concepts and we're going to breeze through this. So, because a lot of this is readings, if you want to know more about it, I definitely recommend that you kind of just read through this. But for the most part, I'm just trying to go through the challenges so you guys can see what's going on. So as I said before, we're going to go through this piece right here. Reconnaissance, or recon, can be defined as preliminary survey to gather information about a target. It is the first step in the unified kill chain. To gain access to a foothold to a system, we divide reconnaissance into two factions: passive reconnaissance and active reconnaissance. Passive reconnaissance, you rely on publicly available information. This is information that you can access from any publicly available resources without direct engaging to the target. Think of it as you are looking at a target. Think of it like you're looking at your target territory from afar without stepping a foot on that territory. These are some of the tactics you're going to use. Passive reconnaissance activities include many activities. For example, looking up DNS records, checking job ads, reading news articles for your target company. Active reconnaissance, on the other hand, cannot be achieved so discreetly. It requires direct engagement with the target. So think of it like checking all the locks and doors and windows on a house to see if there's an entry point. So examples of active reconnaissance are contacting the company, connecting to the company's servers, such as HTTP, FTP, and SMTP. Calling the company to attempt to get information, or entering a company premise to pretending to be a repairman. So the questions are as follows. You visit Facebook from the target company, hoping to get some of the employees' names. What kind of reconnaissance is this? Active or A, or passive P? Well, we're not doing anything, so it'd be P. We're passively looking at the site. You ping the address of the company web server to check the ICMP traffic if the traffic is blocked. This is active because we're actively engaging with the system. You happen to meet the IT administrator in the target company party. You try to use social engineering to get a little bit of information about the system and their network infrastructure. What kind of reconnaissance activity is this? Well, because you're actively engaging with the person and you're trying to solicit them for information about the systems, unfortunately, that is active. So right here, we're going to be opening up our terminal in our mock operating system. This would be running Kali if we were to install this on our local image. And Whois is a a register lookup device. So when we say Whois there, Whois is a request and response protocol. It's a server listening on port 403. It's a domain register. Basically, it's just a database. So by using it, we would type in Whois. That is the command that we would use to run basically the program on the command line. And we would enter the domain name that we want to access. So we can use Google, we can use Facebook, but for right now, for testing purposes, we are going to do tryhackme.com. And my spelling is atrocious, so 99% of my errors are syntax errors. And this is all the information that comes up when you would run this command. It has a lot of things like, the domain name, who has the server, who is the register, when it was, the register's URL, the data was created, the data was updated. So a lot of good information when you're trying to build out your OSINT portfolio, when you're doing an investigation. So definitely go over and read all of this, but it all pertains to the information that we were gathering. There's a lot of flags that we can do, and we will do in a bit, but for right now, Whois lookup, basically, you basically enter the domain name, and you go from there. When was tryhackme registered? Let's come back up here. Creation date, 2018. Oh, here. 2018. 0705. What is the registrar? That's Namecheap Inc. Right? Registrar's name. Yep. Namecheap Inc. Oh. Namecheap Inc. Oh, sorry, .com. Right, and then which company? That would be Cloudflare. Flare.com. And I know that because as we scroll down a little bit, we will see. Where is it? I think I just missed it. Which company is tryhackme.com using? Right there. This would be your name server, and there's Cloudflare. So that's what's asking for. Name server, cloudflare.com. nslookup, another good tool. I'm going to implore you to look through this. nslookup is a name server lookup device. It is also the same thing like, it's the same thing as Whois, like it's a huge database. So definitely some useful information, but this has a little bit more site specific. So if you want to look up nslookup, right, that's going to be your command to access the database, and you can go ahead and say tryhackme.com, and you get the information about tryhackme.com. This is going to be the IP address. This is going to be your standard lookup. This mostly resolves IP addresses, but you can go ahead and you can query through all of these types. So you have your A, your 4A, IPv6, canonical mail servers, your start of authority, and your TXT records. So if you wanted to look up, let's say, there's one down here. I will NS look up. All right, you want to look up the type, which is going to be the TXT. type, which is empty, and it is going to be to the THM Labs. Now, I'm going to explain to you guys what I'm about to do right here. So, yeah, nslookup is going to ask for this specific type of domain. So we're going to be looking using nslookup. We're going to be looking for the THT records for THB Labs. I think it's Labs. Yeah, .com. And using nslookup, there's plenty of ways. There's plenty of tags that you can use to look these up. These are the queries. This is what you can be looking up, and nslookup is going to be asking us for that. Dig, on the other hand, is another database, but it's just a little bit more involved, but relatively the same thing. Dig is also used to be able to cross-reference what you've learned from nslookup, and Whois. But we're going to run the query of dig try hackme.com, and we're going to come up and we're going to come through and we're going to get the same IP addresses as we did in our nslookup. Right? You can query your MX lookup just like you did before. You can look up your DNS records from Google. You can do it through Cloudflare. You can do it through what was the other one? Or you can get your MX records as well. Very useful. I definitely do recommend that you guys look through this and read it because there's a lot of information, or go look up my live feed where I explain this just a little bit more in detail. This is going to be a flag we're grabbing. All right. And we are dragging and dropping that, and we're good. DNSdumpster. This is basically a DNS database. It mostly captures not only a domain name. It won't give you IP addresses, but it will give you subdomains, which definitely comes through. And if you're looking for a domain or a subdomain to basically lay out your attacks or confirm what you have, DNSdumpster is a great way to kind of go through that. DNSdumpster. Oh, there you go. Dumpster. Oh. Okay, there it is. And we are simply going to type in tryhackme.com, and we will get all the information and all your subdomains. So there are other tools that you're going to be using when you do pen tests, but this is a quick GUI style web interface that will give you the information basically on DNS and their subdomains. Definitely worth looking into. I think there's only one question coming through here. This is the logical layout of how a site will look. It's kind of just glorified the way it's supposed to look. So the look up tryhackme.com on DNSdumpster. What is the one interesting subdomain that you would discover in addition to www and blog? Blog, help, insights, proxy. We're going to go a bit remote because that's just the way it is. Showdown is another extraordinarily useful tool. If you don't know about it, you will. It is extraordinarily powerful, and it's a huge database of open connectivity devices that are able to connect to just have open connections. So this is going to be the description. Showdown tries to connect every device reachable online and build a search engine of connected things. In contrast, with search engines for websites, once it gets a response, it collects all the information and basically builds one huge database. It is completely searchable, and it is extraordinarily useful. We use it all the time. Tryhackme or tryhackme.com. We use it all the time in the pen testing world, and I can't speak highly about it enough. Now, am I now? tryhackme.com. So if you want to check what is on this domain, you have tryhackme.com. You have 9 results that come up, and these are all the typical domains that are associated with it. I said earlier with Cloudflare, you can see the SSL certificates, where it's located, and so forth. And you can see that's connected to a Amazon server. It has a bunch of information that is completely interesting and that you should know. This differs from this, but as you can see, that this information is still here, and that the website at one point has been moved. So definitely worth checking out, and all the things that would be extraordinarily beneficial to your pen test environment. We'll answer the question. What is the first country in the world with the first publicly? So we're going to go up here and we're going to search for Apache, because what this is asking for, according to Shodan, what is the first country in the world in terms of the number of publicly accessible Apache servers? So Apache, I don't want to yell at this thing. Apache, right. And there it is. First one is going to be the United States. So United States. All right. What is third most common port? 8080, which, if as you do more SOC work, you'll see 8080 pop up a lot more. When you start doing a lot of pen testing work, you'll see 8080 pop up quite a bit as well. What is the third most common port for Nginx? So once again, we're going to go up here. We're going to type in Nginx or Nginx, however you want to say it. Right. And you can see that comes up with 48 million. Right. Yep, 48 million results. And what is the port? Third most common is going to be 888. All right. And that's it. That is your first passive reconnaissance room. Hopefully you guys found out something that is extraordinarily useful. Here's a summary. Here's everything that we went over. Definitely something you guys should look into. Definitely go back and read it. And as you get more familiar with your pen testing and your tools, tips, techniques, TTP, tactic, techniques, and procedures, you're going to get way more involved with a lot of these things. So definitely read it over. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you in the next one.